Welcome!
The New Mexico Momcast.
The New Mexico Momcast is a show from ABQ Mom for local moms as we navigate raising our kids in the land of enchantment.
And I'm one of your hosts, Vanessa Bush.
I'm the other one, Becca Lusko Tubes. And welcome back, Vanessa. We're back for...
It has been a minute, and I'm
Yeah,
glad to be back in routine and regular life.
Yeah, I couldn't when my kids were like, I can't believe we're going back to school next week. And I was like, oh, I can't believe you're going back to school next week either. Boo-hoo.
Too bad. I am devastated.
I'm so tired of finding snack wrappers in the couch.
Oh, why can we not make it to the trash can? This is a good issue.
Yep, that and socks. They stuff socks into the couch too. And I'm all, well, this is why you don't have socks. Don't come take mine.
But if anyone has a fix for the sock issue, that would be great. Like people running out of socks. How do you fold socks? Because I am just over it. I'm so done with it. And I have a giant basket of socks that are mismatched. I'm like, here you go. Find your socks. You're on. Go to town.
This is my mom confession. It's to the point that my youngest, like basically just in the morning, just walks to the laundry room and goes and just digs through the box of socks. But I'm like, but it's because I find her socks everywhere around the house, tucked into like the closet, everywhere.
I just am not going to fold them. I just am not going to match socks and fold them. And I really should outsource that to a child while they're watching like a stupid TV show. That's what I should. Anyone else have any great recommendations for that? We really need you to comment on our social media and let us know.
Yeah. I tried for a while to put a ban on like patterned or individual, like special socks. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I knew what you're talking about.
No, like the entire family, we should be like Quakers and all wear the same socks. I don't know if they do, but that's what I want.
You're like knitting socks that are all the same. We're like a grayish oatmeal color. All of them.
It's great. Everyone gets one pair of wool socks, and you get
the wool yourself.
Nothing else.
All right. Well, we have really gone on a weird rabbit trail here, but
I feel like though, if we're struggling with this, everyone is struggling with this and feels it in their heart. But yeah, it was a good holiday break despite the sock situation. How was your time of rest?
Yeah, I do feel like it was pretty restful. I intentionally did a lot of nothing, so necessary, I think. We do this during this, I guess when we put all of the Christmas decorations away, I always feel like dissatisfied with the house. Like, all right, everybody, we're rearranging. Anyway, we like to arrange the whole house. Like our dining room is in our living room and things got switched around. But I feel lots better, so.
Good. No, I'm the same way. It's like once all that clutter's put away, I'm like, okay, what can I organize next? And it's on. Yeah. No one is safe this time of year.
No thing is safe. It's going to get organized.
Yeah.
Well, my oldest is home from college. So UNM has the longest break on the planet. Classes begin January 21st, and I adore having him home. But he is real verbal and super chatty, and so he'll like come down in the morning like, let's have a cup of coffee, Mom, and talk about this deep thought I have and all these sports things I would like to talk to you about. So I'm like, dude, I have to work. Like, I just can't shoot the breeze for like hours with you. I love you dearly, but go find something to do, man.
I have one of those as well. And usually it's like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, I really love talking to you, but I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to replay every snowboarding move that you had like on your trip. I love you. Show me your videos later. I mean, earlier.
Yeah, we're still not even back to normal because he's still home, but it's been super fun to like have him home and be a family of 5 again. That's been just really fun and sad. He goes to live on his own again in a few days. Yeah.
So little mamas of littles, where your toddlers are like, won't get off your leg. Remember this little feeling that Vanessa's having where she's the 21st, he's back. So just keep that in mind.
It is. It's so weird because I'm like, I remember the days you would not let me go to the bathroom alone. And here we are. Here we are. You live in a separate building from me, miles and miles away.
So you said you did a lot of nothing. Did you fall in love or find any shows or any wonderful books or
Yeah.
anything that you fell in love
Okay.
with?
This is not new at all, but it does have another season coming out soon. But I watched all of, like we started from episode 1. Um, Only Murders in the Building. Have you watched it?
Mm. Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
a fan. I'm a fan of the old guy banter so much.
Yes.
That all of the jokes about being old and them not being able to use technology are just a hoot to me. I think the 3 main characters' personalities are so funny. And I never watched it because I thought my husband wouldn't enjoy it, and he thinks it's the greatest. So
Yeah.
we've had a lot of fun with it, and season 5 is coming out sometime soon. I don't know.
Season 5. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed. I grew up with Steve Martin's like stand-up comedy and The Jerk and all his movies, so I really did like that show. That's really good. I fell in love with, and it's relatively new. There's 2 seasons. It's Bad Sisters, and I think it's on Hulu. And it's interesting. They're Irish. There's a lot of f bombs in there, but somehow when you have an Irish accent, it doesn't feel as bad. It's like almost a little charming.
So if you need to say bad words, just put your accents out,
Exactly. You
and
throw a
you'll
little
be fine.
little accent. And the premise of it, and this isn't a spoiler because it's pretty evident right away, is that there's these 5 sisters, and they're all adult sisters, and one of them is in a really, really terrible toxic relationship and has lost herself, and they see how stuck she is and how awful he is, and the other sisters decide to kill him. So that's the premise, and the hijinks that ensues through that. So it's a good one. Like it's got like the sister thing and the girl power, but then also it's murder mystery kind of thing. So like the husband enjoyed it too.
All right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
touch of violence. So bad.
I'm gonna like that premise.
Mhm. That's good. That's my rec from my season. But now we are off to the new start, and our topic today is new everything, new year, new resolutions. Why are we doing this? What we just want to talk about that.
Do
And
we even do them? New Year, do I need the new me? Is old me fine? I
do I
don't
like me? What's going on here? And just kind of taking inventory. We wanted to kind of chat and unpack that situation because I feel like a lot of people struggle. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of social pressure. Um, and then even you go into stores, everything is like, dude, like we were even talking, like our new house. I need a new house now. The holidays are over.
Wow. I do need that. I gotta refresh it somehow. So I looked this up because I was like, what is that? Because I do feel the feeling.
Mhm.
And there is a concept of the fresh start in it's like a psychological thing that people study.
Mhm.
And there's this psychological milestone that symbolizes a clean slate. And it's a real thing that we like. So if you feel it, and lots of other people do too. It's a psychological state. So
Mhm.
I thought that was sort of interesting to do. Come up. Are you one who makes resolutions?
So I resent the word resolution because resolute stems from the word resolute, which is like finality, like just I'm resolute, which I want to be. I want to have this resolute iron will, but also it's like more of a laffy taffy will sometimes, if you will. So I, I try. I mean, and like I said, there's so much pressure to be centered, to be more organized, to be everything, everyone. But like, really, do you need a new you? And what really aligns with your life as a busy mom and what's going to serve your family best? What kind of example are we setting for our children too? Because we could do a whole 3 episodes just on diet culture that we grew up with,
It was not great.
and how unhealthy that is, and what we're emulating and projecting for our children to see too, and then how we're choosing to live our lives. So I do like the idea of a clean slate. I like all my holiday misgivings and snacks and treats to be wiped away, and I'm like, okay, day one. Last year I knew what season I was in, and I knew I was coming up on a very hard season, and so I chose to just go in very softly and just like kind of coddle myself a little bit and not have any hard expectations. Um, but that being said, this year I was like, okay, we've been a little too coddling with ourselves. It's time to have a little bit of a tougher discipline with myself. So I'm trying to I try to find kind of a word for the year that I want to kind of
I was
focus on
gonna
and
ask if you do that.
grow with. Um, my word for this year is mental discipline. That's 2 words.
Okay.
I want to be a little bit stronger with myself in that way. What about you?
I have chosen words for the year in the past, but I do not recall what they are. I can't remember them from year to year. I think that's part of the problem for me with any kind of New Year resolution type thing is it's a year is too long for me. I'm like, I don't remember. And I even looked around for like some of my goals from last January and I couldn't find them. I don't know where I wrote them, what I did. I do remember one thing I had decided last year was that I was really going to focus on um this is more like a business goal, but like my calendars and like keeping my calendars updated and then Becca works with my calendar and she knows it's not always updated, but I am doing
You're doing really good with it.
so much better.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, I was like I had 45 calendars and I didn't know what any of them said. So I really I really have improved myself in that area. So there you go.
Pat on the belt. Gold star. Gold star.
Woohoo. But yeah, I totally get the idea of like being in different seasons and that I feel like January 1st is the absolute worst time for a new start because one, it's cold outside and I can't do anything when it's cold. Like you're like, "Oh, I'm going to move my body more." Well, I'm going to march in place inside my kitchen or something because it's too cold outside to move my body. And then we're tired from the night before because we stayed up so late, so we didn't even get like a good night's sleep. And then the kids are home from school, so that's it's hard. So it's just January is not the greatest time for a clean slate, in my opinion. But I really do love. I feel like my best kind of clean slate, fresh start time is actually August, like back to school time.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm on the kids' school schedule. But that said, I do have some. Oh, well, I thought that I made this up, but I apparently I did not because it is also on the internet. So I
There's
must have,
nothing new under the sun.
I must have seen it somewhere and just like held on to it. But I have like a New Year slow burn because of the fact that January 1st is the worst day to start something new. And so instead of so it's slow burn in that it's kind of gradual and sustainable approach to making a change as opposed to like this sudden intensity that quickly just fades away from me because I forget. I'm like, what was I? Did I? Oh, I don't. So I call it the New Year slow burn, and so yeah, I do have a few New Year slow burn things that I do plan to work towards.
Incorporate, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've worked in different capacities in retail for a really long time, and this is the time of year everyone in retail takes inventory.
Oh, that
The,
makes
the,
sense.
the dreaded inventory, if you've done that, it's always you're always marching towards it. But I do think this is a good time of year to take inventory, to kind of evaluate
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. I mean, I can't during the holidays, personally, I feel like I can't see up or down. Like I'm just so busy. My calendar can't handle one more thing. And a lot of things do go by the wayside for me because I'm so busy. Um, this is the time of year where I start making every single health care appointment for everyone in my family, which
That is part of my slow burn.
yeah, get it.
See?
So taking that kind of getting a little bit of a reset, resetting the house, resetting myself, like mentally, emotionally, physically, all those different things. Um, I am this year, this is a unusual year, but I am doing the hard 75 and I'm always reluctant to
Oh
talk
my,
about it.
sure, strong. That is the hard. I mean, I feel like it should be like called really, really super duper hard 70.
It's really,
Like it's a lot.
yeah, it is.
Going
It's really, I wouldn't recommend it for just anyone, but I just felt like I needed to like prove myself mentally that I could like push through and do hard things. um, through this and just kind of get that like really big, when all the tabs have been open for a little too long on your computer, you got to shut it down and restart it. And so that's what we're doing over here. But to your point, why now? It would have been a lot warmer if I was doing this in November when it was like 60 degrees during the day instead of waiting till it was 19 degrees,
I know. I think it just feels right to some people, and that's fine. But I also feel like, especially if you're a mom of tinies and things are so busy, like, you don't want to do things like this. Don't.
No.
Like, there's no New Year resolution police out there, and if it is just not working for you in this season of life, like, that's okay. Um, but I like the idea that you said taking inventory, like, of the facets of your life, and where would I like things to be different, and I think when I've thought through this, I'm a whole lot better at like professional or business goals. Like, those are very important. If you don't do that as a business or as a professional, you're never going to see growth or improve. But a person is not a project, right? Like, we have self-awareness and consciousness and rationality and just all of the complexities of being human. And so let's not treat ourselves like we're some type of like project that can be completed and finished and amazing, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, let's make sure that we understand that we're still human. And I think in past years, what happens to me when I decide or resolve to make a change is that I quickly realize, oh, I'm still me. I still procrastinate, and I still am late, and I'm still not super organized, right? And so I think just taking all of that into account and being kind to yourself in this.
Uh-huh.
And I totally get what you're saying, how you felt like, after some things that happened last year, you needed a complete reboot. And maybe other people are in that season.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you're a slow burner like me, and you need you need the whole month. I really do feel like I need the whole month of January to be like, what would I like to work on? What would I like to change? So, um, yeah, those are kind of just like some thoughts rattling around in my head.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And I think the second that it becomes social pressure or you're feeling pressure to do something like that, you shouldn't. There is a level of there being kind of social encouragement because other people are doing it. So it's like you kind of can, it's a little easier. I've seen Dry January goes around on social media really intensely. And that I think for some people make it very easier 'cause it's social norm and people are doing this. And you're getting encouraged for doing that whereas in the middle of December, it'd be a little trickier when you're going to 17 holiday parties, you know?
Well, I remember it was like, that wacky time between Christmas Day and New Year's and before the kids go back. And I was, why do I feel so awful? I feel horrible. And it was like a light bulb above my head. And it was like my self-conscious speaking to me saying, you have had cookies for breakfast every day for like a week. That is why you feel so bad.
A plus B equals C.
Well, I mean, back to that, like, you're not a project type thing. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like so I've made like, I don't know. Well, I have heard, I forget the percentages now. I should have written this down, but like most people's goals are around like health, losing weight, or saving money,
Mhm.
how like a financial goal. And so if I just say that big thing to myself, like, I'm going to focus on my health this year, and then do not like that does absolutely nothing. That's more like just a wish. I wish I were healthier. I wish I could be better. Good luck with that, Vanessa. And so we have to break down those like giant wishes, if you will, into like really tiny steps. And that's what's worked for that kind of is what works for me. If I see an area where I need change, like, what's the tiny step? Like, my tiny step right now in the health department, making the doctor's appointments. I have a few appointments I need to make. I made one.
Uh-huh.
I have like 3 more.
Celebrate that though. Those are like,
Mhm.
and celebrating those small things rather than being like, well, I didn't lose 45 pounds, so I failed. And it's like, okay, but like, are we not eating cookies for breakfast anymore? Yeah. All right. That's also a win.
Go me.
You'll get it.
I
Yeah.
truly am amazing.
Another gold star. Now I'm going to give you a cookie.
No, don't reward myself there. Yeah, start super small. Celebrate is like a rewarding your brain. So yeah,
Well, exactly. Like scientifically, that setting goals activates the reward center and dopamine in your brain. So that's part of it too. So small goals like, hey, today I'm gonna, I don't know, get back to all the emails that I have outstanding since whenever. And so that's reward center. Give that a check off, and that's a small thing towards better organization or time management or whatever that looks like. Rather than it being like a big overarching huge goal, like you were saying, that's unattainable. And then you're going to end up beating yourself up because you didn't instantly become more organized.
do
Yeah.
you ever listen to or follow on Instagram the Lazy Genius?
No.
She's great. She's really great. And she has I don't know, an idea for improvement. Like if you're feeling the need to improve, what she suggests is start by naming what's working. Like, what have you done that's worked really well? And
Huh.
how can you incorporate that into other facets of your life? So, um, this is so stupid, but something that has made me ridiculously more happy is that I have gotten 3 baskets that are underneath a bench by my front door, and I put people's shoes in those baskets. My husband and my 2 kids who still live at home each have a basket. I don't have a basket because I put my shoes away. Like,
Gold star. Gold star.
thank you. Thank you. I'm celebrating. Anyway, but those 3 baskets have made me so happy because like shoes are not everywhere. I don't, why have I lived like this for so long? I have, but this year I got these baskets and so I'm like, okay, well, what other area of my life, if I just got like a holding device or would be so much better. And so I'm kind of racking that through. I have like a couple closets that really suck and like kind of stress me out. Like, do I just need like organizational things in those closets and then it's fixed? So she just says, what's working? What's working really well for you? And congratulate yourself for those and like somehow transfer that to another area of your life that maybe is that you want to improve. So I
Yeah.
really suggest her podcast. It's very like very practical help. And I'm just not good at coming up with that type of thing on my own. I need other people to give me ideas. Buy a basket, Debbie. Like
Shoot all over. No, and sometimes I feel like you're too close to the project and you're too deep in it, and sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees, if you will, until someone's like, hey, look, this works. Why don't you do this over here? And you're like, oh, yeah, why didn't I think of that? And it's just like, you're overwhelmed with everything else that's going on, in your life, the 25 appointments you have to make for your children and the this and work and whatever. And so the simple solutions aren't always that evident until we slow down and think like that.
well, and sometimes you're I've heard someone describe it and I have this language now with some people that I talk with all the time, but you're working in it so much you can't work on it. Like you can't
Uh-huh.
work on the big picture. It's the worst. Yeah.
That's, yeah, my life. Yes.
Yeah. I get that.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, the other thing that I think gives people trouble is when they failed in the past,
Mhm.
had trouble. They tried something, it didn't work. And so and then there's also like kind of false hope syndrome that gets in when people said, like we said, have too much overconfidence to take on too many facets of their life all at once. Or like we said, kind of black and white, you mess up once and then you're just like, well, I didn't do it. That's it. There goes my health for this year. Guess we're back.
I literally have had that mindset. I have in the past. And my mom always says, she's like, I hardly ever punished you because you were so hard on yourself,
Uh,
making mistakes. And so I was just really careful about that. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Mom. That's really nice. She's like, you were doing a good enough job all on your own. Um, but I think some of that has seeped into adulthood. Yeah. Cause I've definitely been there. I'm like, oh, messed up with that one thing. Now I guess the goal's ruined for the year. So I wouldn't ever want to have that mindset. It's totally not healthy, which is why those tiny steps work for me. And then also like setting a date and a time. So one of the changes I would like to incorporate, I live pretty far from, well, all of my family except my immediate family and lots of my friends.
uh-huh.
And I am not as good as I should be about keeping in touch and phone calls. And so I just have like a date and a time on my calendar, like every week at this time, I'm going to make a phone call to one of these people. It's like, it's so simple, but if
Mhm.
it's right there on my calendar and I do it like every week at the same time, like I feel like, and it may sound inauthentic, but I think it will help me. So
No,
ask me later how I'm doing.
especially when you're busy, you know? My
Working
brother does this, and he drives quite a bit, and so anytime he gets in the car, he makes a phone call. He just, like, calls to catch up with someone, which is like, "Oh, you're driving again. Guess you're calling me." But at the same time, I think it's kinda cool because then you have that continued communication over small things. You're not just calling when, like, something's really big or
right.
wrong.
And that
Yeah.
is yeah, that's kind of what has happened in some people that I would like to be close to. I'm like, if their name comes up on my phone, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Something bad. I,
Mhm.
I hate to have that feeling.
One of the other things that I feel like I'm trying to focus on is time with my kids, not
Mm,
just, like, living life and doing things and, shooing people off to bed or make sure they're doing their homework. Um, but that's it's helped me because I have to do one of these dreaded workouts outside, which is terrible. Well,
you really have to save it to like 2 p.m. or like
every day.
really warm period of the day.
Trying to wait when it's cozy, but when it is livable, like, my daughter just comes on a walk with me and we just talk,
Mm,
and that's like and then at dinner, if I ask her what her favorite part of the day is, it's, "Oh, and I wanna walk with mom," and it's like, well, I would have never normally done that. It would have been, and the driving is good too, like, when you're shuttling kids around, but I feel like it's not always the same when you're not, like, just kinda spending that quiet time together. No, trying to be intentional, when life's so busy, so
so good. Yeah. I have something kind of like that on my on my list. And this stems more from like, okay, what would improve my overall quality of life and my overall like happiness? And I remembered an exercise that I did a while back, and I do go back and add to it sometimes, but it's called a life giving list. Have you ever heard of that?
Hmm.
My friend Steve Cuss, he developed this, and it's just so simple. But basically, um, he talks about like if you're going through something hard, things are not great, you're in a bad mood. He even said it like if you can't sleep, which does happen to me occasionally, get out your life giving list and just do one of those things. And so it should be like from very, very simple things to like super, super extravagant things that can't always happen. So I have really simple things on. So here's some stuff on my life giving list. Clean sheets. Oh my gosh. It's the best feeling in the world.
Does change.
Getting in a clean sheet bed. Um, Petting my dog's ears. My dog is annoying as all get out, but she's a darling little beagle and her ears are so soft and so sweet. Sitting in front of a fire, like just really simple things, but they really do fill me up. Lighting a candle, like duh. Well, and then I have different things that I like to do with each person in my family, and then it's all the way up to like really extravagant things. Like it was very life giving to me to be on the water.
Mhm.
I grew up in Florida, and so being on the near the ocean and on the ocean on a boat is like the best thing for me. But I kind of had like just put my life giving list aside, but I dug it out a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so many things on this list that I'm really not incorporating into my life, and would be so simple to just improve my quality of life. One of them is yoga. We talked
Mhm.
about this the other day. I kind of have gotten away from doing yoga, reading poetry. I haven't read poetry in forever, and I love poetry. So just like very simple things that I think, oh, okay, I can just like make this part of my routine. And my daughter even said the other day, she's only 12, but she was like, she has the longest legs. Her legs are so long, and she's having some trouble in ballet with like stretching and stuff. And she's like, maybe we should do yoga together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so many things on my life-giving list.
There you
Yoga,
go.
spending time with my daughter. Anyway, I feel like those things, just keeping them in the forefront of my mind and like remembering how simple it can be to improve my quality of life.
Hmm. I think rather than making it a list of don'ts, depriving yourself and not doing this, and you start taking away, it starts to feel joyless. But maybe focusing, maybe like you said, like on a list of do's and incorporating more of that intentional things into your life. I think that the buzzword of self-care has been kind of run into the ground over and over, but your do list. I don't
Your
like,
do list,
yeah.
your life-giving list. Do you have
Mhm, like,
anything? Do you have anything else that you're trying to incorporate this year? I mean,
uh,
175 is like enough.
it's a gallon. For those of you who don't know, it is, I am on day 16 right now, which sounds like a really big win because I am
Huge.
29 workouts in, because it's two 45-minute workouts. One has to be outdoors. Drink a gallon of water, no alcohol, no cheat meals, follow some sort of a diet, which I'm real careful about. I don't even like the word diet, but I like to make sure I'm eating strong, is what I like to say. And so I'm just tracking my protein. And then you read 10 pages a day and take a progress photo every day. And that's what it is. So
It's like a part-time job.
that's basically, yeah. It's not to be very intentional about everything, but it's really good. I feel really good. I'm sleeping really well, which is nice, and I don't have time for anything else except for a bath and then to fall asleep immediately as soon as my head hits the pillow because I'm exhausted.
Yeah. You're like, oh, people, you have drama? Too bad. I'm doing 175 right now. No drama.
Man. Yeah, but it has been nice because my husband and I reading together, whereas we watch TV together because we're doing it. So that has been really nice, I
That's
will
good.
say. Yeah.
That's really good. Have you read anything good that you want to share? Or are
Right.
you in the middle of it?
I'm in the middle of a few things. I am reading this book by Andy Stanley. The name of it is going to escape me, but it's something about no regrets or something along those lines.
Okay.
I'll probably link it in the show notes when I remember the name of the
I
title.
remember the name.
Yes.
You've written a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah. Real good.
Well, that's that. I really have appreciated this conversation, and I hope it is like encouraging to all of you out there listening to just like give yourself some kindness and do what works for you in different seasons. And if it's not the season for you to change, that's okay.
Yeah. Give yourself some grace on that. Thanks for joining us and tuning into the New Mexico Momcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, which we hope you did, we'd love it if you leave us a review. It helps more moms find us. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at NMMomcast and ABQMom_ for our connection, resources, and updates. See you next time.